I had the chance to play BTD6's newest update, featuring BLASTAPOPOULOS, and I'm here to show you what I've learned. To start, we're going to pull up the newest map, Ancient Portal, and we're going to have a go at it right over there. Ancient Portal's a single lane map, with the portals alternate which direction the balloons will continue to go, while being interchangeable at any point, leading to some interesting choices on whether you want to go for a shorter path that's near some water, or a longer winding path that's sectioned off from the rest of your towers. Another thing to consider is the moon platforms, which offer your heroes various bonuses depending on where they're placed. The top one gives full balloon coverage to whatever it's placed on, able to hit leads, camos, purples, you name it. The middle one offers extra range and attack damage. The water has faster experience and cooldowns, perfect for something like Brickle and Pat Frosty, and the back corner gives extra pierce and attack speed. My first attempt at Mr. Populous featured the classic Benjamin, who was left relegated to the naughty corner as he couldn't make use of any of the buffs on offer. Using early farming methods, defending with a dart, sniper, and boomerang, we managed to get a bank up by round 19. The early game farming in bosses really sucks when you're trying to min-max, but luckily there's an easy way to skip it now. Using the latest fast track in-app purchase, you can skip the annoying early game and straight to Moneysville. Don't forget to use code FROSTYMATE in your creator support to help a mate out as well. Obligatory shilling out of the way, we grab around 30 Monkeyopolis, obtain a balloon trap, and several farms, and we get ready for round 1 against the Fiery Fiend. BLASTAPOPOULOS features some pretty nasty tricks, so first and foremost, be prepared for your cooldowns to be made a ton longer. Any experienced boss player knows that First Strike deals with most bosses quite well, but All Blasty doesn't care for it one bit. He firstly makes all cooldowns longer at the start of a fight, even when they're fully ready to go. Once you do get your cooldowns back, there's no damage carryover, so your first strikes will only pop one of the 5 parts of his health bar. Scrambling to find an answer, I use some overdrives and an embrittlement to cool down BLASTAPOPOULOS for an easy kill. However, if you're looking for an easy way to beat tier 1, I'd definitely recommend this approach instead, using an embrittlement with a few overdrives to get the job done. If you're used to bosses at this point, it's a pretty standard farming affair moving forwards. I acquire a BRF, grabbing an overclock, and another balloon trap to help against the standard waves, selling it all to afford a banana central on round 53. After a few more BRFs, it's time for tier 2. I wanted to test a classic fast strategy top boss players use for tier 2, combining a support focused Sun Temple with a whole bunch of Shinobis and Grandmaster Ninja. This was a mistake though, as BLASTAPOPOULOS stuns towers upon its arrival and shut down my call to arms, which would allow me to pump out a ton of caltrops. It's still fine, as my ninja army cuts down a lot of health, until it slows to a crawl. This is another one of BLASTAPOPOULOS' nasty tricks. Upon hitting a skull, he'll produce debris around him, cutting line of sight to a few narrow gaps. This hampers mid-range towers such as the ninja significantly, so going forward, certainly not recommended. Instead, I'd offer something like a Mad or a Flying Fortress to get the job done instead. Moving on to tier 3, an Engineer Paragon was the defensive choice, known for being the fastest way to destroy a mid-game boss with rapid turret explosions. With Blasty's multiple skulls, I'd have to sequence everything properly to make sure that there's enough damage to get the job done. However, I forgot to take into account BLASTAPOPOULOS' trick number 3. That's right, there's 3 of them. Upon hitting a skull, BLASTAPOPOULOS fires a fireball at a few of your towers, completely halting its cooldown and preventing it from being sold. The fireball is also an area of effect as well, as any tower around the zone will be affected too. I'm not sure, but it seemed that it would always target my most expensive tower as well, so rather than getting my bang for my buck with my Engineered Paragon, it was more of a whimper instead. For a second try, I used a Dart Paragon, which is by far the best option. placing it right next to BLASTAPOPOULOS' spawn. The Dart Paragon makes great use of the debris, creating a massive funnel for all the bouncy balls to tear to shreds. It'll get stunned a bit, but it'll still kill incredibly quickly. With enough farming under our belt, Tier 4 is quickly taken down by an Ace Paragon, the Goliath Doomship. As I mentioned before, I dealt enough damage fairly quickly to prevent Blasty from ever allowing me to activate my Ace Paragon's ability, as the fireballs kept the platform completely roasted. Skilled boss players might need to activate before the round starts to have the best effect, so be warned. Combining everything that we've learned so far, we grab a Dart Paragon, an NG Paragon, and an Ace Paragon with a few overdrives and ices to shred through Tier 5. And post a time of 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Not bad for a first try. With all that in mind, let's apply what we know to the Elite version. This time I've chosen Geraldo for the extra Paragon power and his early game power, thanks to the middle platform. Geraldo offers quite a bit of power thanks to his early turrets that inherit the platform bonus, clearing everything out with only one turret up to round 28. Where we grab a second turret that gets placed on the MIB tile, allowing us to clear the rest of the leads. A Monkeyopolis, a Balloon Trap, and a few farms later, and we're already at the boss. First on the agenda to test, an Elite Defender. The Elite Defender performs admirably, but there's not much room to deal damage. And this time the debris around all Blasty is much worse for the Elite version, completely blocking the Defender from firing. Next up, a whole bunch of Operation Dartstorms, trying to forego the rocks for some global damage. It does fine, but it's not really that quick. Elite Defender in a better spot does get some damage down, but there's not a lot of track length to let it do its work. The best attempt I have with it is a Super Brittle and a few overdrives for damage. But again, it leaves the track too quickly to finish the job. What about an old classic, the Sticky Bomb? Well, BLASTAPOPOULOS has one last nasty trick up its sleeve. It strips all damage over time effects. Sticky Bomb might do damage after time, but unfortunately the bomb melts off before it can do anything. Shucks. Then I test with a Mob Eliminator, which I think proves to be the best casual way of killing the boss. The cooldown is negligible, meaning that even once it gets hit by the fire several times, it's still got good consistent damage either way. Pair it up with a primary mentoring, and it's an easy tier 1 kill. If you don't die to the leaks like I do. Take it a step further and add another mob assassin in for an even faster kill. But I think we can go even faster. To do that, I have to take a restart and do it all over again, but this time purchasing an overclock on round 39. The plan is simple: overclock attack zone and destroy Blasty Fasty, and just look at it go. Four overdrives, an embrittlement, and one tack zone later, and we get a proper fast kill on BLASTAPOPOULOS. We did some really nerdy stuff here as well, like gluing the top lane with 4 spooky totems to try to stall out the round just enough to allow for more farming later. It works a treat, finishing just in time for round 42. It's a pretty sweaty strategy, but one that's worked best in testing. I also chucked in a cryo cannon to see if the reduced heat would matter. It did not. But it tried! With all the farming done, we're back to tier 2. For less sweaty farmers, a tier 2 Mad or Flying Fortress is more than good enough here, but make sure to keep the heat down, or those projectiles will melt if they're too far away. A Ray of Doom's also a decent option here if you can find a way around the rocks. That's not likely though. For a map that's as short as this one though, there's only one option to go incredibly fast. An early Dart Paragon. The best bit? You can sell it off and remake it even stronger for tier 3. A Paragon level 48 melts Blasty, my frame rate, and also my PC. Since BLASTAPOPOULOS is immune to purples, I wanted to see how a Wizard Paragon would perform against it, due to it having a largely ability-based moveset. Remember how I earlier said that I could never get my Ace ability up? Well, since I was doing so much damage with my Dart Paragon, it was near impossible to get any abilities off of my Wizard, since the cooldowns had been so considerably lengthened. I even added in a Boomerang Paragon to pump up my Dart Paragon numbers, but that made it even worse. I had to let the fight start with only my Wizard and Dart Paragon, merging the Boomerang after the Wizard got the Arcane Metamorphosis ability off. All of that was barely enough to scrape through, with my PC just barely holding it all together. All that was left was to deal the final blow. With all my money, I summoned a Degree 65 Ace Paragon, assembled a True Sun God, and planted down as many supporting damage towers as possible. Would it be enough? It was time to find out. With only a quarter of the health bar left, the team was in emergency mode. With only Ace being able to damage the boss, I needed a quick sell of the original Dart and Boomerang Paragon to get enough damage to get the job done. And that's all she wrote for all Blasty here. A 10-minute and 19-second elite time. You think you can do better? Challenge yourself to beat my BLASTAPOPOULOS score, coming soon with the release of version 45. Well folks, this has been my sneaky peeky at the new update. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all out there for version 45. See you all next time.